Good evening, all. Ira Epstein with your metal market wrap-up, and this wrap-up is for Tuesday, and we're at the 18th of January, 2022, 6:25 p.m. Central Time. So as we look at the metals, gold's holding up here at the 1812 area. The market that exploded to the upside today happened to have been the silver market. That market near 23 and a half. So what got into it? Well, a lot of short covering. It rallied up to some key resistance points, as you'll see. That's what stymied the rally. But that inflation talk is still on. You can see how strong you are in all of the different energies. And, I think part of what's going on, and we have to pay attention, is the markets are starting very quietly. They did this in wheat today. It looked to me like they could be doing it in some of the metals, to look at the Russian situation in the Ukraine. And I think they're building in. This thing may not end as good as was hoped. In other words, will Russia invade? Wheat up because Russia's a major wheat exporter, but will the world bar their exports? What will happen with Russia retaliating if it doesn't want to give energy? It needs the money, but you don't know where that wild card's going, and that could be what's suddenly getting into some of the metals. The dollar up very strong today, and the euro suffered greatly because of that. But that was to be expected. You got down to the dollar Bollinger Band bottom at the end of the week yesterday to get a big bounce off of that, no surprise. When you look at the weekly chart of closes on gold, it is still staying over that 18-week average of closes, which means it keeps the bias of the market up. My definition of bias is when the market's over that 18-week average of closes, the bias is up. When it's under it, the bias is down. So it tells me when the bias is up, look for buy signals. And it says negate the sell signals you get above that number. Go with the sell signals under it, but don't take the buy signals under it. That's how I use it. I then go to the bar chart, and you can see how the daily chart's really not flashing much of anything right here. As we take a look at the action, you have a pattern of lower highs and lower lows with the history of that. So the trend is down. When we look at the key averages, you fell back into the 18 and the 200-day average. See that? The gray line, that's your 200. The 100's over here. What did I say last week? And I've said this repeatedly for a long time. Gold just can't seem to embrace the fact of this inflation scenario all around it and do what you'd expect. Start running, getting over the 1900 level on up. The high dollar keeps weighing on that market to a certain degree. And technically, the market just drifting in here, chopping a lot of traders. They keep looking for that move. They don't get the follow through. And I watch on our books how traders are trading that. Not impressed with what they're doing. When you look at the slow stochastics, they are no longer overbought. They're now neutral. So the market has plenty of reasons to do something. Is this whole area a top? Or is it a base to advance? That's what you're going to be asking yourself over and over. Look at what happened with the gold-silver ratio. This began flirting with doing something last week. This is Thursday of last week. On Friday, you rallied back up and you closed just over that 18-day average of closes. And then it collapsed today. It completely collapsed today. Bing. Okay, that's a good sign. That means silver's suddenly getting stronger than the gold market. When you look at silver, this is why the rally ran out of steam right here. You got overbought. You're up to the 100-day average in green, the upper Bollinger Band, and that just suddenly stopped the market. But I can remove this down arrow now and put another arrow pointing up right from this 2282.90 and say that the market has support now at 2297. It's in an uptrend. The bias is up, but it is overbought and in a lot of resistance. In the copper market, copper's got some headwinds against it. In China, they have a zero-tolerance policy, which means you get COVID in an area, they shut the whole area down. That's been what they've been doing. So You've got the lunar holiday coming. You've got COVID in many cities throughout China. They never give you all the information. I think you realize that. And they've got the zero tolerance policy. I would think that means less demand at the factories for copper, and that's pushing, I think, this market down to a degree. Every time we get that lunar holiday, I don't like the idea of being long in the copper market because they do consume 50% of the world's copper. What's been helping copper stay relatively good is Peru's second largest mine is still got activists keeping it shut down. That has not changed in any manner. So you've got a bit of a tighter supply situation, but a lot less copper. In fact, what if I told you that China, the news was out today, had sold massive amounts of the copper it had bought back on the open market in 2021? Interesting. In the platinum market, you're just drifting here sideways in these Bollinger Bands that are just very much neutral, and you're just bouncing around, not really setting yourself up for a breakout yet. If these metals wanted to follow silver, it could get very exciting to the upside if they wanted to do that. The palladium market backed off. It didn't want to make a run up against the 100-day average in green or the upper Bollinger Band. It threw out new sell signals, and it's under that unless you get back over this right here, the 1940s, let's call it 1945-70 level, that old high there. And last, the dollar index. You know, I was watching this as the market was coming down the other day over here, and I was telling traders, hey, that's the first challenge of the Bollinger Band. Somewhere between here and that 100-day average is what I call the trade coming out. You want to take, and I keep saying this, you want to take the fillet out of all that meat. This is where I think the pros came out. The market went a bit further. You can see that, and all of a sudden you get one of these, okay? That's what I mean when you don't need that last piece of meat on the bone. It isn't important. You get into these zones, it's about making sure you don't get caught in a move like that where you suddenly give back the monies that you made. And talking about the dollar, I did another special report. Told you I'm going to do a lot more this year. So this special report's a video report, and that's how I'm doing them. And what you do is you just have to go to our website, and under the work, you'll see in the education area, go in there. You will find out the reports there. Go to market research. It's right in, I believe, that area. And it's free. So all you need to do is go there, and you will see it. I talk about the dollar, the importance here. I cover the quarterly. Well, actually, I'm covering the monthly charts. I didn't want to do quarterlies. So I did the monthly. I covered the weekly, went into the daily, went into the seasonals for you. So how do you get this? You just go to www.iraepstein.com, go to the market research. You will see it. It's labeled as clear as can be. It's only up 3 days. Why do I do that? Because these reports are timely for now. They're not a history lesson 2 weeks from now. That isn't what they're about. They're about right now, what I think. When I finished that report, I'm already preparing to do my next one for you. So how do you get it? As I said, just go there, market research, you'll see it all there. I'm Ira Epstein. You have a great day. I'll talk to you later.